Im Nachhall von 9/11 rekrutierte die EU ihre besten Männer um eine...
It's called Hitman Solitude before the shot, and it's pretty much about the solitude of a hitman. It's somebody who's officially been trained by the European Union, and he himself thinks he's the new James Bond and the next big shot in agent and killer history, but then it turns out that he doesn't get a single hit, and he's just waiting, and he has never really worked in his job, and he's all frustrated and all nervous. 8 years later, he checks his telephone every 5 minutes if a mission came in, but nothing happens, and that's the basic idea. Well, usually what you do is you really go into huge characters, and they're like very over the top, and they are invulnerable and all that. And I thought, what would happen if we go a little more realistic on things? And the funny thing is that now I have made this comedy about a contract killer who has never worked, but I always think it's way more realistic than all the James Bond and Jason Bournes out there. And that's where the fun comes from. It's what would happen if Jason Bourne and James Bond were just regular humans like you and I, and they'd be feeling bad in the day, and they might not be in the mood to go to work and stuff like that.
Bist du etwa so blöd und hältst dich an alle Regeln?
Ja, natürlich.
I had the idea in 2008, so it's been quite a couple of years ago, and then I started working on the script, and 1.5 years later I have to say, all in all, I worked, I think, 4 or 5 years on the script. It was quite a long period of time, and quite early during this very many years I asked a co-author to work with me, because I don't like the solitude of writing. It's close to my main character's solitude of just waiting for the shot to happen. And in a dialogue, it's way more vivid, and you can just go ping pong with the ideas and all that. So we had a good collaboration with, his name is Clemente Fernandez Gil. He's half Spain, half German. And we had too many ideas. We had a whole bunch of ideas. So the actual work was not to get good ideas for our comedy action movie, but to kind of take all the ideas and find the core and find the important midpoint of it.
Activate him.
The thing is, I don't know about other countries, but in Germany, whenever you say you want to go for a comedy, people think that they say like, oh yeah, okay, but it's probably going to be like a stupid film. It might be funny, but it's going to be stupid. And I don't like that. I think comedy can be very smart, can be very, can be anything, can be very dark, can be very quiet, very slow, whatever it wants it to be. Comedy is just a term of a funny movie. And so I always knew that what kind of humor I wanted to have in my film. And I experienced that whenever I said I'm going to make a comedy about a killer, people just had very blocked ideas in their heads about what a comedy should look like. And then they were always surprised when I went deeper into telling them that they said, okay, but it's not like a comedy. And I said, well, it's a comedy in the end, but maybe it's not what usually people think it's supposed to be feeling like.
Der Tank ist leer.
Wo sind wir? Wo? Wie weit sind wir gefahren?
Geben Sie mir die Waffe.
Benno Fürmann, he's the name who plays the role of Koralnik. And he's a very well-known actor in Germany. And I like him because he's got the looks and the charisma of a hero. You think when you look at him, you think, okay, he's good looking and he's got a good body and he's in shape and he's got a nice smile and all that. Anything you need to be like the classical hero. But I do know, because I've seen it a couple times in movies, that he's got a great opportunity to make fun of himself and to be very unvain about all his attributes. And I knew that, and so I knew that this guy would really push the character up high and then have him fall like really low, which is perfect for the comedy. And while writing the script, he was in my head, even though I've never met him before and we didn't meet in person. And then when the script was ready, I asked him, just on a very regular way. I just contacted his agent and said, I've got this screenplay, I'd like him to read it. And he read it, he liked it, and it worked out. I didn't really want to make a political satire, but there's this part of a political satire in it. And it's the idea of Europe being we being in Europe being all different than what we know from, let's say, America, where, like, if you go and say, I'm gonna make an action comedy, a killer film that's set in Chicago, everybody goes, yeah, right, it fits. And then when something great happens and explosions and all that, everybody says, I know, this is the reality I know out of those movies, and it makes sense, and it's the way I'm used to watching this. As soon as you transform this into, or as you take all this and put it in Europe, and you say, Europe is Europe, and we know there's the European Union, and there's commissions, and there's people who are more like bureaucrats than strong figures that go straight forward. It turns into some kind of comedy, but I think it's a comedy that's based on the reality I see. For me, Europe is a good idea and is working in many ways, but it's also very bureaucratic, and everything is very mediocre. It's very balanced, and other than in America, where you say, okay, it's very hysterical and very loud and very aggressive, we don't have those attributes, and that's part of the fun of making this movie.
Heben Sie die Hände und legen Sie sich auf den Boden.